It was interesting to watch how my wife pretends not to cheat on me, but I've known the whole truth for a long time. I even felt sorry for her at some point, but I quickly woke up and realized that I was facing a lying cheater who had no conscience, and at that very moment I started my dirty game. The harsh reality is that unexpected adversity can strike at any moment. I learned this truth firsthand. I, Alexander Eriksson, a 43-year-old Scandinavian man, believed I had a flawless life, 2 wonderful children, a loving wife named Lisa, good health, a beautiful home, a stable job, supportive parents, a circle of friends, and a decent financial situation. I held a reasonably well-paying position at the local real estate administration, overseeing maintenance for schools, daycare centers, and senior homes in the area. So, it came as a devastating shock when I sensed trouble brewing in my marriage with Lisa. My ordeal began on an ordinary Thursday evening while tidying up the new hobby room in my basement. This room had been a recent project, converted after I replaced the oil burner and tank with a connection to the municipal central heating system. I had painted the walls, laid new flooring, and sorted through junk for disposal at the recycling station. As I searched for a small bag for plastic jars and bottles, the truth began to dawn on me. I walked into the kitchen and grabbed a reusable grocery bag from the cupboard. Those plastic bags were ideal for such purposes. There was nothing unusual about the bag I chose. It bore the familiar, vibrant logo of the supermarket chain where we typically shopped. As I placed the first item into the bag, I noticed a receipt tucked at the bottom. To this day, I can't quite explain why I picked up that receipt, as I usually paid no mind to our grocery expenses. However, things took a dramatic turn when I realized the receipt was from a supermarket located 35 kilometers away from our hometown. What's more, it was dated and timed for when my wife, Lisa, should have been at work. Lisa didn't have any work-related responsibilities outside of town, especially not as a bank teller. If she had undertaken such an unusual errand, she would have surely informed me, given her habit of sharing gossip about the bank where she worked. Sure, I could have immediately approached her, but I wasn't anticipating to uncover the truth. Therefore, I opted to seek out the real facts through alternative means, although I had a strange sense that the answer might not be to my liking. Lisa is a stunning Nordic beauty, tall, blonde, with 2 children, and remarkably youthful at 39. When I first met her at a dance, I was just an ordinary guy, neither wealthy nor a famous athlete, nor even a tough military veteran. Although I had encountered Lisa before and shared a dance, I had never attempted to pursue a closer relationship with her. However, this particular evening was different. I can't explain why, but I found her irresistibly captivating. I held her closer, complimented her hair, dress, and perfume, although I didn't anticipate any significant outcome from such simple gestures, especially considering she was surrounded by numerous attractive men throughout the evening. As a result, I was glad to share another dance with her, this time to a slow melody. I was stunned and filled with pride when Lisa hugged me to her and whispered in my ear, "Save the last dance for me." Naturally, I obeyed. After that memorable final dance, she escorted me to my apartment. There, after a few tender moments, we ended up in my bed. Despite my strong desire, I managed to keep my composure until Lisa reached the climax. Our relationship developed, and each meeting surpassed the previous one. Soon we fell head over heels in love with each other. We got married 2 years later when she was 25 and I was 29. Our children, Linda and Lucas, were born 3 and 5 years after our wedding, respectively. Both Lisa and I had failed relationships and several partners before we found each other, and we found this experience useful because it taught us that the grass is not always greener on the other side. Lisa never denied receiving attention from men while out with her friends or even when we were together. However, I never doubted her assertion that she found it annoying to be constantly hit on and that she was content with our relationship and satisfied with our sex life. The puzzling question remained: why was she in the neighboring town during her working hours? I hoped for a plausible explanation, but my unease lingered. Lisa's close friend, Anna Granlund, lived in their hometown, approximately 15 kilometers away from the town. Due to technical issues, another cell phone provider had better coverage in their village, prompting residents to use that provider's network. To avoid expensive roaming charges between different providers, Lisa and Anna opted for long conversations on the landline, which offered a low monthly flat rate with no additional charges based on usage time. Although I felt guilty about it, I made the decision to set up a simple scheme involving Lisa. When she went to get her hair done for a party we were attending later that evening, I purchased an electronic phone recording device and set it up in my basement home office, testing it to ensure it worked. On Monday evening, I put my plan into action by telling Lisa, "Someone at work told me something amusing today. He claimed to have seen someone who looked exactly like you in the neighboring town last week. Apparently, she resembled you so much that he thought she could be your twin sister. Have you ever heard about her?" I noticed a flicker of concern in her expression as she responded, "No, but it would be interesting to meet her." Typically, Lisa arrived home an hour before me. If Anna, who worked as a nurse, was at home during that time, they would often have lengthy phone conversations. On Tuesday after work, I feigned having some tasks to complete at home, which was not uncommon, and retreated to my home office to listen to the recordings. After some tedious chatter, Lisa got straight to the point.
"Alexander nearly startled me yesterday with a story about a guy who claimed to have seen someone who looked just like me in the next town, thinking I was Lisa's doppelganger, like a twin sister. A. Oh my God, how did you respond? L. I thought it might be amusing to meet her. A. You actually considered that? Did he mention your twin sister's husband? L. No, but I need to be more cautious next time. Maybe wear a wig or something. Do you happen to have an old black wig? A. Yes, I do. We can use that. By the way, have you made any plans yet? L. We're aiming for next week, but it depends on whether Douglas can get off work after lunch that day. He's quite busy, you know. And you? Do you have the nest reserved for tomorrow? A. Yes, I have, and I'm eagerly anticipating it. L. We're such foolish women. A. Indeed we are. L. But why should we refuse some thrilling extra attention as long as we don't harm our husbands? A. Even they'll get what they need, don't you think? Lisa agreed, and from there they shifted to discussing Lisa's upcoming 40th birthday party that I had committed to arranging as a surprise for her.
I would have preferred to endure a hard blow from a baseball bat than endure that phone call, which undoubtedly spelled serious trouble for my family. The implications for our innocent children, who might end up in some form of shared custody in the future, were particularly distressing. Once I had overcome the initial shock, I decided that her extravagant party would not go as planned. One thing was certain. Both Lisa and Anna had secret lovers with whom they rendezvoused in a clandestine nest in the neighboring town. Lisa was involved with someone named Douglas, a rather uncommon name in our country, mostly associated with noble families. Tracking down this Douglas became my primary objective. After an extensive search of the online phone directory, I found only 2 individuals named Douglas in our town and its vicinity. Subscribing to and searching through the semi-legal credit registry online proved to be a worthwhile investment, providing further details about these 2 men. It revealed that one of them was a 67-year-old retired school teacher, whom I deemed an unlikely candidate as Lisa's lover. The other, Douglas Lindbergh, was far more intriguing. He was a 34-year-old technical engineer, married with 2 children. However, my only hesitation stemmed from the discovery of another 31-year-old Douglas in the neighboring town. My next course of action involved composing a letter to Anna's husband, Robin. Dear Robin, it's important for you to be aware, as many of your friends and acquaintances already are, that Anna is involved in an extramarital affair. Your faithful friends. Lisa immediately sensed my unease as I entered the kitchen. I explained that I wasn't feeling well and planned to take a stroll to clear my head. I stepped out and posted the letter to Robin, knowing he would receive it around the same time Anna returned home, freshly engaged in her rendezvous in the neighboring town. As I walked to the mailbox, thoughts of Anna and Lisa's love nest swirled in my mind. Eventually, I recalled a past incident where one of Anna's acquaintances had relocated to the nearby town with a man. It sparked a memory that her name was something along the lines of Helene, Helena, or Helen. The following day, I canceled my reservation at the inn where I had intended to host Lisa's grand birthday celebration. I also called off the booking for the popular dance band slated to perform at the party. Taking an extended lunch break, I returned home, sifted through Lisa's photo albums, and stumbled upon several pictures of the girl who had departed for the neighboring town. Her full name, Helene Silverstein, was inscribed beneath one of the photographs. With this lead in mind, I searched the online phone directory and obtained the contact details for Elvin Andersson and Helena Silverstein Andersson. I was looking forward to finding out if she had shared any gossip with Lisa about her date with her lover, and if Robin was interested in the news mentioned in my letter. As soon as Lisa left for aerobics classes, I quickly retreated to my home office and turned on the recording. It was clear that Anna was proud of her infidelity, as she boasted.
It was the best bed experience I've had in years. I have to admit that although Robin is good in bed, Bongo is better. He's bigger, lasts longer, and recovers quickly, so I enjoy most of the time we're together. Lisa asked, "It sounds amazing. Are you in love with him? And do you already have plans for your next date?" A. No. He's just a big, strong man, and I'm sure we're meeting purely for physical contact. But I don't mind as long as he satisfies my needs. Yes, we agreed on the same time next week. I'm looking forward to this amazing meeting. It's a strong desire for me. L. Please be cautious with how often you engage in it. I'm still a bit worried about the look-alike story Alexander mentioned, and I've started feeling uneasy, like he suspects something. He's been acting so differently since he brought up that look-alike. Sometimes, I even suspect he knows it was me who was involved. A. I'll end things with Bongo when I've had my fill. What about you and Alexander? Are you still intimate as usual? L. No, we haven't had a bed relationship for a long time, since my red days started. We didn't have this last weekend, and I feel like Alexander is avoiding me. The truth is, I haven't been intimate with him since I was with Douglas last Tuesday. A. Men can behave that way sometimes, but be cautious and continue to act as his devoted wife, even when you're thinking about Douglas. L. I don't need to act. I am his devoted wife. A. But he'd be furious and call you a cheating wife if he knew about Douglas. L. He'll never find out because he's convinced I'm a faithful, loving wife.
Both of them chuckled at that remark, which I personally found lacking in humor. There was no further discussion about their deceit in that conversation. It was clear that Robin hadn't taken any immediate steps after reading my letter. So I composed a new one. Dear friend, it is incumbent upon me to inform you that Frederick Bongo Anderson is boasting about having had an affair with your wife Anna, referring to her as the most promiscuous woman he's ever slept with. Yesterday they had contact again. I used a different envelope this time, telling my children I needed to buy a magazine. After mailing the letter to his workplace, I quickly purchased my magazine and returned home before Lisa. Later that evening, as Lisa and I sat in the living room, I broached the topic, saying, I've been pondering about your doppelganger and have some plans involving her. Do you have any connections with that Helene person who moved to the neighboring town years ago? Lisa seemed momentarily alarmed before responding. No, not at all. I haven't seen her in ages. I don't even know her married name. Why do you ask about Helene? Well, if she lives in the same town as your doppelganger, she must have encountered her and might even know her. Why are you so interested in that doppelganger? Aren't I enough for you? Do you want two of me? Just wait and see. It'll be a surprise. That was the end of the conversation for the evening. I silently hoped that Lisa would use our landline when she called Helene the next day, and that Robin would inquire about Anna. Tomorrow promised to be interesting. It truly was. I called Helene from work just before heading home, and I was convinced that Lisa had already spoken to her because Helene had no knowledge of Lisa or any doppelganger. I fed her some story about people who knew Lisa spotting her look-alike and my intentions to hire her for something at Lisa's upcoming party. When I arrived home after work, Lisa seemed visibly stressed. I was certain she'd been crying. "What's wrong?" I asked. "Is someone in our family sick or hurt?" After some hesitation, Lisa responded, "No, nothing's wrong with me, but I feel terrible for Anna because Robin got taken to the police station." I had to feign surprise. "Robin? What did he do to end up there?" "Robin got into a fight, and the other man was hospitalized." "Robin, fighting? That's hard to believe. There must have been a good reason. Why did he do it?" Once again, Lisa hesitated before replying, "I really wish I knew. He's probably already been released. Fighters usually get out after a few hours. Call Anna if you don't believe me." Lisa called Anna, and although I couldn't hear Anna's words, it was evident that she was in a dire situation. Following the call, Lisa resolved to visit Anna and offer her support. After Lisa departed, I retreated to my office to review my recordings. As anticipated, the initial call was to Helene, during which they arranged for Helene to remain unaware when I contacted her. Subsequently, Lisa made a reservation for Anita's apartment for the following Thursday, yet the identity of Anita and why Helene permitted her friends to utilize the apartment as a romantic rendezvous remained elusive. The next recording featured Anna, who was distraught, exclaiming,
Oh my God! Robin showed up at Bongo's workplace and assaulted him so severely that he required ambulance transport to the hospital. Robin was subsequently detained at the police station. He must have discovered our affair at Bongo's, and I fear he will evict me from our home. Oh Lord, what am I to do? Please calm down. Robin can't evict you from the house. Don't you have a stake in it? No, I don't. It's solely in his name. Regardless, you have a right to stay there, even if Robin pursues a divorce. He can't legally remove you, at least not until the divorce is finalized in 6 months. I'm afraid he will. How could I have been so foolish to engage in that affair with Bongo so openly? We should have been more discreet and cautious. He was skilled at that, and you enjoyed it, didn't you? Yes, I did, but if he's been boasting about our affair, I'll make sure he regrets it. We forgot the cardinal rule of infidelity. Never with people from your hometown. What should we do? I've already reserved the apartment for next Thursday. Go ahead, enjoy your rendezvous, and let him have what he's been asking for. But make it the last time with him, at least until Robin stops causing trouble about Bongo. Put Douglas on hold and resume being Alexander's faithful wife. I'm confident Robin still loves me and will forgive me once he's calmed down. I love him dearly and will abide by any conditions to save our marriage. Bongo was good in bed, but I'd never want to be with him.
Anna's final call before Lisa visited her didn't reveal much new information. Robin called Anna, informing her that he would spend the night at his parents' house and expected her to vacate his home by the following day due to her infidelity. Later, Lisa called me from Anna's place seeking shelter for Anna in our spare room until she found her own accommodation. I insisted on knowing why Robin had ejected Anna from their home, to which Lisa replied, "I don't know. Ask her for goodness sake. Anna doesn't want to disclose it to me. In that case, she can stay where she is." "Are you refusing to assist my best friend in her time of need?" "Yes, I am." "Wait a moment. I'll ask her again." After a minute of silence, Lisa returned and said, Robin discovered that Anna had been unfaithful and cheated on him. I responded, What an audacious person. My response remains unchanged. I will never allow any deceitful person into my home, not under any circumstances. Lisa became enraged and yelled, This is my home too, and if Anna has to stay in a hotel, then I'm going with her. That's your decision. You wouldn't mind if I did that? Not in this scenario. I despise dishonest individuals, and I will never assist someone who has betrayed their spouse. End of story. Lisa abruptly ended the call. It likely left her uneasy about what might transpire if or when I discovered her own infidelity. Nevertheless, she returned home 2 hours later and retired to bed with some resentful remarks directed at me. I remained indifferent. The next day, which turned out to be Friday, Lisa informed me after work that she would spend the evening with Anna. Anna recently moved into a cozy 2-room apartment of her retired parents. During our conversation, I casually mentioned, Today I heard an interesting anecdote about a certain Douglas Lindberg. Do you know him? Lisa's expression became wary before she replied, No, I can't remember hearing about him. What is he known for? He gained notoriety for his affairs with women of easy virtue. It is rumored that he contracted gonorrhea from one of them and passed it on to his wife. Perhaps he should heed the old adage, scammers never succeed. Do you think your friend Anna would agree with that? Lisa, clearly shocked, retorted, You and your gossip. Don't you have a job at the mayor's office? She left around 7:30, ignoring my, Have a nice evening. I doubted that either Lisa or Anna was in the right mood for a pleasant evening or any further deception at the moment. And frankly, why should I even care now that my marriage seemed beyond salvage? Lisa returned home just past midnight. I was still awake in bed. She didn't say much, but her odd glances seemed to expect some significant response from me. It was clear she had been in contact with Douglas during the evening, and unsurprisingly, he likely denied all the accusations I'd leveled against him. Saturday morning, just after my family and I finished breakfast, the phone rang. I answered, and to my surprise, the caller identified himself as Douglas Lindberg, asking, Are you Alexander Erickson? Yes, I am, and I'm fully aware of your identity, Douglas Lindberg. After our children had left the kitchen, Lisa's complexion turned pale upon learning that it was Douglas on the line. Douglas persisted, You're tarnishing my reputation and that of my wife with baseless accusations. I'll be contacting my lawyer first thing Monday morning. Why are you doing this to us? Because, you despicable jerk. You're having an affair with my wife. What you're calling slander was merely a ploy to uncover Lisa's lover. Now that I know who you are, rest assured, you'll face consequences for your actions. You must be out of your mind. It doesn't matter what state of mind I'm in. Do you have a spare room for Lisa at your place? Douglas chose to hang up rather than address Lisa's predicament. Lisa wept uncontrollably and hurried to our bedroom. I noticed that Douglas had called me from his cell phone, so I rang his home phone and a woman's voice answered saying, Annalie Lindberg. Good morning, Annalie. My name is Alexander Erickson, and unfortunately, I have distressing news about your husband, Douglas. I've discovered that he's having an affair with my wife, Lisa. They rendezvous in some sort of love nest in the neighboring town. Oh my goodness, are you certain? Regrettably, yes. Could you please tell me where I can locate that despicable man you're married to? Dear me, what are your intentions? Not much, just planning to castrate him. No, you can't. Please try to calm down. I see your number on my caller ID and I'll call you back later. Please refrain from doing anything rash. The situation is already difficult enough as it is. We hung up, only to have the phone ring again a few minutes later. This time it was Lisa's mother inquiring about my plans for Lisa's birthday party. I was honest with her, stating, I don't have any plans for Lisa's party. You don't have any plans? Didn't you promise to take care of everything for the party? She exclaimed. That's correct, I replied. She raised her voice. So you're telling me you still haven't made any plans for Lisa's party? I had made extensive plans, but they've been canceled now and I'm no longer involved in the party. Well, that's no surprise. You can't seem to do anything properly. Who's in charge of the party now? Don't ask me. I won't be invited to that darn party because Lisa and I are breaking up. Are you out of your mind? Poor Lisa. What have you done to my daughter? It's better to ask your poor Lisa what she and Douglas Lindbergh were doing naked in bed. Lisa's mother erupted into hysterical shouting, so I ended the call, stating that nothing could prevent the divorce. A few minutes later, Lisa's father called me and pleaded for forgiveness on Lisa's behalf. I responded by stating that I could never forgive a spouse who cheated, and Lisa's infidelity had brought an end to our marriage. The next caller was Anna. I informed her. Here's some good news for you, Anna. Lisa and I are splitting up, so you and your promiscuous friend are now free to pursue all the horny men you desire. Exciting times ahead, wouldn't you agree, Anna? Anna showed no interest in discussing her future with me any further and promptly ended the call. Shortly after, Lisa emerged from the bedroom and asked me to take the children out for lunch in town, a request I agreed to. She then inquired, "How long have you known?" After discovering a receipt from a supermarket in the neighboring town inside a shopping bag, along with noticing that you had taken time off work to visit there, I grew suspicious that your trip wasn't solely for grocery shopping. Despite my skepticism, I decided to give you the opportunity to explain yourself truthfully. Hence, I concocted a story about a friend spotting someone resembling you in the same town. The panic in your expression confirmed my suspicions that something was awry. Instead of admitting your presence there for whatever reason, you chose to feign ignorance. Why did you encounter Douglas there, and how does Helene factor into your infidelity? Because we needed to utilize an apartment owned by Helene's husband's sister, who is currently serving as a nurse for the United Nations in Lebanon for a year. Is she truly comfortable with that, Anna? Allowing you and potentially other women to utilize her residence as some sort of brothel? That's not accurate. While I admit to my indiscretion, labeling me as a prostitute isn't fair. I regret my actions and feel remorseful and apologetic, but I didn't engage in this for financial gain. A prostitute would at least be astute enough to demand payment for services rendered. Yet Douglas must view you as a foolish individual for engaging in this for free. How many times did you encounter Douglas there, and how many other men before him? I noticed a slight pause before Lisa responded. Douglas is my first and only brief affair, and I only met him once. That's it. Not much of a promiscuous behavior. Knowing she was not being truthful about seeing Douglas more than once, I retorted, "Perhaps not much in your estimation, but enough to break marriages. Have you and Douglas made further arrangements, and are you planning to leave me to marry him?" More falsehoods from Lisa. No, of course not. It was just a one-time fling, and we didn't discuss any future plans. I don't have feelings for him. It was merely a one-time sexual encounter, and to be frank, he wasn't better than you anyway. He was different, but not better. Making love with you is much better because I love you. You lied directly to my face when I asked you about Helene, and she acted like she had never heard of you when I called her. Isn't it ironic that I had already seen her in your girl party album before I asked you about her, and then I called her to inquire about you? Isn't it funny that both she and you conveniently forgot that she was here at your party in this house less than 6 months ago? Oh my God, what have I done? How could I have been so stupid? Even if I were foolish, I wouldn't be foolish enough to accept such nonsense without understanding why you did it. I suspected you were cheating on me, but didn't know with whom until I received a letter with a hint of perfume telling me to look for a guy named Douglas who apparently had access to your affections. I didn't know any Douglas, so I set a simple trap once again by lying about his supposed gonorrhea. You became anxious and called him yesterday evening, which angered him enough to call me and introduce himself. The letter contained falsehoods, as I couldn't mention the phone tapping. If both Robin and I had received letters, perhaps Lisa would suspect Helene or someone else aware of her infidelity as the sender. Lisa started to cry and asked, "Is there any hope for us to overcome this nightmare?" Please don't ask me such questions on this dreadful day. Our issues are already public knowledge. I've spoken with your parents, Douglas' wife, and Anna. Lisa turned pale and cried, "Oh my God." Then I questioned her. Am I truly so terrible that you felt the need to sneak away for brief moments with a womanizer like Douglas, who is married? Is family life in this house so miserable that it's not worth preserving? She didn't respond because the children came in for lunch and I took them with me to a restaurant they enjoyed. Upon returning home, I instructed Lisa to move her belongings to the guest room. In my home office, I checked the phone recorder. The only call was from her mother, who seemed more concerned about the canceled birthday party than Lisa's marital issues. Then I called Helen and informed her that Lisa had confessed everything and accused her of renting out her husband's sister's apartment to engage in adultery with lovers. I stressed that such actions were illegal and stated my intention to report this to the real estate company that owned the property, as they would have legitimate grounds to terminate the lease. I asked if Helen's husband and his sister knew about her activities. Although it was just a bluff, I was sure it would unsettle Helen for a while. Subsequently, I contacted Anna's husband, Robin, and we shared some information. He said that Anna confessed to having an intimate relationship with Bongo 5 times, while Lisa did it 3 times. Bongo's wife chose divorce, which prompted Robin to consider it as the only viable solution. I expressed my support for his decision. Lisa then prepared a travel bag, stating her intention to spend the weekend at her parents' house to support Anna, who was going through difficult times. Personally, I didn't care about her actions. On Sunday morning, Annalie Lindberg called me to share that she and Douglas had a significant conversation about their future. She discovered that Lisa wasn't the only person he had been unfaithful with, prompting her to make the decision to divorce him. When she informed him of her decision, he reacted irrationally, destroying a nearly new 50-inch flat HD TV and some furniture. Annalie expressed that by his actions, Douglas had burned all his bridges, making forgiveness impossible. Douglas packed a suitcase and left the house, his whereabouts unknown for the time being. I disclosed to Annalie that I, too, was pursuing a divorce, as were Anna's husband, Robin, and Bongo's wife. Lisa didn't return home until Monday morning, just before heading to work. Through a co-worker whose sister worked at the same bank as Lisa, I learned that Annalie had visited the bank as soon as it opened on Monday morning and threw eggs at Lisa, loudly accusing her of being a disgraceful adulterer who had slept with her husband. This scandal quickly spread throughout town, fueled by the usual gossip amplification. After Lisa promptly returned home and took a week off, which she spent at her parents' house, I visited on Tuesday with the divorce papers. Although I caught a glimpse of Lisa in the window, it was her mother who greeted me at the door, accusing me of being a narrow-minded Puritan unable to forgive his beautiful, loving wife for a minor transgression. In response, I stated, "The minor mistake of Lisa and Anna led to broken homes for 9 children and 8 adults. I find it difficult to believe that any of the 17 affected individuals will ever share your perspective." She accepted the envelope without further comment and slammed the door shut. About a week after Lisa had returned home and acknowledged the end of our marriage, we commenced negotiations for the divorce. To my relief, our discussions proceeded much more smoothly than anticipated. We were able to communicate without resorting to curses, screams, or shouts. I agreed to sell my share of the house to her, so that our children could maintain their connection to the family home and visit me whenever they wished. Lisa's parents sold their house and transitioned to an apartment. Since Lisa was their sole offspring, they provided her with the funds necessary to purchase my portion of the house, along with the furniture and nearly all other belongings in our shared home. I located a pleasant apartment at a convenient distance from our former residence, ensuring it would be simple for the children to visit me. Douglas severed all ties with Lisa following their exposure, which greatly angered her when they unexpectedly crossed paths one evening at a bar. A member of Lisa's female friend group later confided in me about Lisa boasting that finding a new superior partner would be effortless for someone as pleasant as herself, implying she could do better than me. However, reality in a small town can be starkly different, as most desirable men were already committed, and Lisa's reputation as a jilted, unfaithful woman deterred potential suitors. While some may have entertained the idea of casual encounters, that wasn't Lisa's aim. Naturally, a woman as attractive as Lisa would eventually find a suitable partner within her social circle. Nonetheless, It must have come as a shock to her that there wasn't a queue of eligible men waiting for her. The friendship between Lisa and Anna soured after a dispute over a man they both desired. Anna emerged victorious, prompting Lisa to react poorly and accuse Anna of being a vile seductress responsible for her misfortune, alleging that Anna had encouraged her to cheat and thus led to the dissolution of her marriage. Anna called me in a rage and told me the whole story about how she and Lisa ran into Bongo and Douglas during one of their girls' parties. She even told me that before her relationship with Douglas, she and Lisa had a one-night threesome with a doctor from her workplace, which took place in my bed while I was away at a conference. Soon after, Anna left the city to get a job at a larger hospital in the county capital, where she quickly began seeing a doctor. Douglas also found new opportunities elsewhere and left town. I continued to help Douglas's ex-wife, Annalie, with some household chores, purely as a friend. The grand party that I had planned for Lisa's birthday had to be reduced to a family gathering with the participation of our children, Lisa, her parents, and 2 cousins, along with their spouses and children. I found more success than Lisa in finding a partner, as I connected with an attractive 42-year-old female lawyer on a dating website. She had recently ended her relationship with a cheating husband, and initially, we bonded over our shared experiences with infidelity. Before long, we decided to meet in person and discovered that we enjoyed each other's company. Now we're having serious discussions about our future together. In a fortunate turn of events, an older lawyer in my hometown is preparing to retire, and my girlfriend, who is also a lawyer, has decided to purchase his firm. Additionally, her daughter is the same age as my own children, and they are getting along splendidly.
That's the end of the story. Write your opinion in the comments about this story. It will be interesting for us to read it. Also, do not forget to like and subscribe to our channel so as not to miss new, equally interesting and exciting stories. Good luck!